On a dime, corners like a dream, and this limited edition comes with some optional accessories. The 13 Warner, considered a modern-day Edsel when it first debuted, this model is now destined to be a classic. It's renowned for precision handling and pinpoint steering. And check out this pair of supercharged roadsters. The 80 Bruce and the 88 Holt give these turbos an open lane, and all you'll see are taillights. Tonight, they face a Detroit team that's running on fumes. Can the Lions refuel in time to challenge this perfectly tuned machine?
1, 2, 3, red!
Well, buckle up. We're about to find out on ABC's Monday Night Football.
All right, showtime. Are you ready? Hit it. Come on and hit it. Come on and get ready. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party. Yes, sir. The countdown to the kickoff has officially started. It's an American thing, and we got it right. All my rowdy friends are here for Monday night.
Downtown Detroit on this crisp October night. Next season, the Detroit Lions will be moving downtown to their new stadium, Ford Field. But right now, we're in Pontiac at the Silver Dome, which opened in 1975. And this is the home opener, the 27th and final season for the Lions under the dome here in Pontiac. A sold-out crowd. Welcome to Monday Night Football. I'm Al Michaels, and tonight a look at the only remaining undefeated team in the National Football League, the St. Louis Rams, who look for their fourth win in a row after knocking off Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Miami. And you'll recall 2 years ago, Kurt Warner was the league's MVP. Then Marshall Faulk won the MVP award last year. They're each off to great starts. Not only is this a terrific football team, they are a lot of fun to watch. Their theme song should be That's Entertainment. It's the first of 3 appearances on Monday Night Football for the Rams. And tonight they go up against the Detroit Lions with new first-year head coach Marty Mornhinweg, who comes over from San Francisco. The new president of the team is Matt Millen, but they've begun with 2 losses to Green Bay and Cleveland and try to right the ship tonight in front of a big home crowd. So it's Monday Night Football from Pontiac as the Rams come to town to take on the Lions.
Tonight's quarterback breakdown is brought to you by McDonald's.
The big top outside Detroit. Dennis Miller. Then what do you make of tonight's game?
Well, what to make of it? Let's see, it's Thanksgiving Day in Canada, so maybe the Lions will play well. But then again, it's Columbus Day here in the US of A, and the Lions don't watch themselves. The Rams could beat them 14-92. Kurt Warner suffered a concussion at the end of last year. He had some light sensitivity in the offseason, so this year he's just decided to play lights out. Over the last 6 quarters, a 153 quarterback rating. Hey, folks, 158 and change is perfect. It's no secret that Warner is an ardent practicing Christian. I'm sure you remember some long afternoons where the Lions beat up on the Christians. And I think tonight it could be payback time.
Well, tonight the Rams try to beat up on the Lions. Next week they'll try to slay the Giants when New York visits St. Louis. But first things first, Desmond Howard is back to receive the kickoff. Jeff Wilkins will put it in the air, so the Lions will get the ball first. This is the home opener. They would have opened up in week 2, the postponed weekend. They would have played Dallas. Wilkins with an angled kick, fielded at the 6-yard line by Howard. And with that very much room to roam, he's thrust out of bounds at the 24, and we say good evening to Melissa Stark. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Al. Lions quarterback Ty Detmer is coming off a game in which he threw 7 interceptions. Marty Mornhinweg sat down with him during the bye week and said, this is something that we both have to get over. Mornhinweg was concerned because Detmer had been overly conservative in practice, and Mornhinweg has been very clear. He told all his quarterbacks in a meeting if he sees any signs of what Detmer did in their last game, he's pulling him and putting in Charlie Batch.
Charlie Batch very much at the ready at the 25-yard line on first down. They begin with James Stewart, gain of 2. Let's take a look at the Detroit offense.
Ty Detmer, Brigham Young University.
James Stewart, University of Tennessee.
Corey Schlesinger, University of Nebraska.
Johnny Morton, University of Southern California.
Jermaine Crowell, University of Virginia.
David Sloan, University of New Mexico.
Jeff Backus, University of Michigan.
Stalker McDougal, University of Oklahoma.
Eric Beverly, Miami University.
Brendan Stein, University of Nebraska.
Aaron Gibson, Wisconsin.
And Stewart, after picking up 2 in the backfield on second down, and the pass is caught by Pete Mitchell up at the 31. Only a gain of 4, though. It'll be third down. Let's take a look at the revamped Ram defense.
Chidi Ahanatu, University of California.
Brian Young, University of Texas, El Paso.
Damian Lewis, University of Miami.
Grant Wistrom, University of Nebraska.
Don Davis, University of Kansas.
London Fletcher, John Carroll University.
Tommy Pollard, Florida State University.
Aeneas Williams, Southern University.
Dexter McLeon, Clemson University.
Adam Archuleta, Arizona State University.
Kim Herring, Penn State University.
A retooled defense, 8 new defensive starters and a new defensive coordinator, and the defense does its work as London Fletcher gets the sack. Detmer hanging in the pocket. The secondary did its job. Ty had to hold on too long, and thus it's 3 and out on the first series for Detroit.
Pretty good example of a coverage sack for the Rams. Short yardage in man-to-man, and they're going to bring the middle linebacker, London Fletcher, right here. Detmer's got to get rid of the ball after that 5th step. The secondary causes him to bring it back down, and London Fletcher picks up his 3rd sack of the year.
Lovie Smith doesn't want to hear that defense just has to be average this year to get back to the Super Bowl stuff. He wants more than that.
John Jett's kick hauled in by As-Hakim at the 23-yard line, and no blocking for him. And the Lions do a nice job on punt coverage. So the Rams will have the ball. They're big favorites tonight. Eric Dickerson, anything they should be worried about?
Well, one thing the Rams cannot be, and that is overly confident for sure. Now, one thing you hear players say that they don't take teams lightly. Believe me, you take certain teams lightly. One thing you can tell in a overly confident football team, they'll have penalties, turnovers, and misuses of timeouts. If the Lions don't take advantage of that, it could be a long night for them.
It could be a long night and also a short night because the Rams, of course, have the capability of blowing teams out early. Rams start with 4 receivers and Falk as the sole setback from the 23-yard line. And Warner off the play fake hits Falk coming out of the backfield, and Marshall does his thing, a little juke step, picks up 7. Here's the Ram offense.
Kurt Warner, University of Northern Iowa.
Marshall Falk, San Diego State University. James Hodgins, San Jose State University.
Isaac Bruce, University of Memphis.
Big game, Torrey Holt, North Carolina State University.
Ernie Conwell, University of Washington.
Orlando Pace, The Ohio State University.
Tom Newton, Western Michigan University.
Danny McCullum, University of Florida. Adam Timmerman, South Dakota State University.
Ryan Tucker, TCU.
That offensive line very often gets overlooked, but Mike Martz effusive about them last night, in particular Timmerman. And on second down is Falk, who cannot get out of the backfield, as Sean Rogers, a rookie out of Texas, along with Ellis making the tackle.
John Rogers, a 2nd-round pick from Texas. One of these big guys right in here, and it's going to be a delay for the Rams to the outside. This is just power by Rogers. Orlando Pace comes off his block, but by that time, Pace is looking back and seeing Rogers making a tackle on Marshall Falk for a loss.
Well, you definitely don't want to blitz Warner because he'll beat you up with it, so you better get pressure out of the front 4.
3rd down and 6 after a loss of 3. Warner under pressure, and he gets sacked. And that really gets the crowd into it, and that's Alonzo Spellman.
You couldn't ask for a better 3 plays and out for the Detroit defense. They knocked Warner down on the first pass. He got it off to Falk just in time, and then a running play gets stuffed, and now Kurt Warner goes down for just the 7th time this year, and Spellman picks up a huge sack. That will fire this crowd up. That will fire his entire team up.
That will fire Dan Fouts up. Get him, Foutsy.
John Jett to punt. Desmond Howard, outstanding punt returner, back to receive it. Baker, good deep kick, and Howard's going to back up and call for a fair catch at the 31-yard line, a 49-yard putt. And that's where the Lions will have it for the second time. No score early at the Silverdome. Ball game here. Not oblivious to what's going on around the world. Ted Koppel will be along at the half, and of course, if events warrant, ABC News will be there, always standing by. James Stewart with a 6-yard pickup up to the 36-yard line. Well, opening day, there was the starter, Charlie Batch, in his 4th season, but right now relegated to coming off the bench.
And in that game against the Packers, Batch was indecisive in the pocket. That led to 7 sacks by Green Bay. 7, by the way, happens to be a bad number for Ty Detmer, too. Those 7 interceptions against Cleveland.
Second down and 4 at the 36-yard line. Here is Stewart. No place to go. And Adam Archuleta comes in there to finish him off.
You know, Ty Detmer won a Heisman Trophy at BYU and knows this offense extremely well. That's why he's here. But this is not characteristic of Ty Detmer, what happened to him against the Cleveland Browns. New to the system, hadn't had a lot of practice time with his receivers. But once you throw 3 or 4, you're starting to look for a hamstring or something to pull, so you don't ever get up to where you're throwing 7 interceptions in just one game.
Third down and 4 now from the 36-yard line. Detmer stepping up, throws, and the catch is made. Johnny Morton in traffic, and Morton has been one of the few bright spots for Detroit through their first 2 losses.
Well, that was a great throw there, and the anomaly about Detmer with the 7 interceptions is his dad called him the record with 8, and Ty said that he was amazed he got that close, and his dad said, you know, you just ran out of time, son. You would have gotten it. Always the positive spin from the father figure.
Well, that takes a little pressure. You also heard from his brother Coy, and I think all Coy did was laugh. And now the Lions were going to get called for having 12 men in the huddle. Very unusual call. And even more importantly, big number 71, Aaron Gibson, limping off the field.
Offense, 12 men in the huddle. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
You usually need 12 men against the Rams when you're on defense. But now, what do you run against the Rams, Dan? A 3-4-5 or a 4-3-5? What alignment would you use?
I used as many as I could get away with.
You saw Aaron Gibson, who at 380 pounds, at least in the listed weights, the heaviest player in the league, and Matt Joyce at 305 pounds comes in at that spot. From the 37-yard line on 1st and 15, Detmer throws. It is incomplete. It is dropped by Corey Schlesinger, who is hit by the rookie Adam Archuleta. Archuleta, one of 3 first-round picks for the Rams in the 2001 draft.
And he's still getting used to playing in space. Here he is as a strong safety, reads the drop of the quarterback Detmer and comes up and just lays it to Schlesinger. Detmer should have read this coverage, though, because if Schlesinger catches the ball, he's going to get nailed just as he was anyway.
Well,
no gain.
Schlesinger's got 7 receptions already this year. Looks like Morenwig's going to go that way with the fullback.
Second down and 15, and they run a reverse with Desmond Howard getting by Wistrom, getting over the 40-yard line, and then pushed out of bounds at about the 44, still well shy of the first down. So they line Howard up to the right. Morenwig saying he'd like to get Desmond involved in 4 or 5 offensive plays.
Because he represents the one thing the Lions lack on both sides of the ball, and that's speed. He'll get 4 or 5 carries, as you said, Al, and that was a reverse. And you want to run a reverse against Lovie Smith's defense because they pursue so well to the ball. It's not unusual to see 8 or 9 Rams around the ball looking for a turnover.
They're actually using Howard out of the backfield this year a little, aren't they, Dan?
Yeah, they did against Green Bay, but not against Cleveland.
Third down and 8 now. Detmer surveys, throws, shy of the 50-yard line, and then Lamont Warren makes the catch and drops the ball out of bounds, so they're forced to punt. Dre Bly with the coverage.
Dre Bly with the coverage, and he popped that ball loose. He had good leverage on Warren down the sidelines. Warren was not going to get the first down.
Yeah, that's an all too frequent and frustrating trend in this league, is third down passes where guys pull up short of the marker and don't really allow themselves the opportunity to get the first.
Very frustrating for a quarterback. You like to throw the ball to a receiver who has the necessary yardage, where all he has to do is catch the ball and fall down for the first down.
Maybe that orange stripe isn't bright enough.
I can't see it, I know that.
Fox dumped the stripe. They don't care about the fans. We're still here with it, Bean. Did I just start a range war?
8 minutes,
what do you mean starts? Tom White just wants the play clock to be restarted.
Referee Alfred Hitchcock.
Tom White's going to feel like Alfred Hitchcock by the time this night is done, I get a feeling. Here's Jets punt, and Hakeem lets it bounce into the end zone for a touchback. So we have played almost 7 minutes. No score and no first downs either. And Ohio State later on that day. Well, the Rams have it for the second time. They don't have a first down. They're at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10, as Kurt Warner throws, and that's Isaac Bruce who loses the ball, and it bounces out of bounds, so the Rams retain possession, but the fumble winds up costing them about 5 yards.
That's one of those things that Eric Dickerson was talking about, an indication that maybe the focus for the Rams isn't as good as it should be, because Isaac Bruce is thinking, I'm going to catch this ball and make big yardage. Chris Claiborne with the left hand pops it loose, and lucky for Bruce, the ball goes out of bounds. But again, the Rams have run 4 plays now, and none of them have been any good.
And last week, Warner was 8 for 8 on an opening drive that resulted in a touchdown. And not only that, the Rams have to take a timeout. So Eric talking at the top of the show about the things that could go wrong, and so far they have. Monday night in October, and back we come now to the Silverdome, about a 45-minute drive with normal traffic from downtown Detroit, and 2nd and 11 for the Rams, who just had to waste a timeout. And now it's caught by Marshall Faulk, and Faulk takes it out to the 30, and that'll be a first down for the Rams.
That's just how good the Rams are, especially that guy, Kurt Warner, and Marshall Faulk. The Lions had the perfect coverage called for this, because when Faulk gets the ball out in the flat, Terry Fair, number 23, is going to be right there to make the tackle. Or is he? There's Fair. Faulk goes inside and picks up the first down. That's how good Marshall Faulk is. He beats defenses that are called to stop him.
How'd you like to be the linebacker in the corner on that side, watching Holt, Faulk, and Bruce coming right at you?
That is already Faulk's 24th catch of the season in 3 games plus half a quarter. Warner throws, caught over the middle, and that's Torrey Holt. So they get everybody into the action. Bruce, Faulk, and now Holt.
And that's about as inaccurate as Kurt Warner will get with a pass, but Holt reached back and made a nice pickup in traffic.
And Torrey's working against an old teammate. That's Todd Light, number 24. Holt with a very disciplined route. It's a zone coverage, and so the reason the ball is thrown behind him just a bit is because he's got to fit it in between linebackers. Nobody fits it in better than Kurt Warner.
First and 10 from the 50. Warner is 4 of his first 4 for 37 yards. Trying to stay perfect, and he does thanks to a nice catch by Conwell. Let's take a look at the Detroit defense.
Robert Porcher, South Carolina State University. Sean Rogers, University of Texas.
Luther Ellis, University of Utah.
Tracy Scroggins, University of Tulsa.
Alan Aldridge, University of Houston.
Stephen Boyd,
Boston College.
Chris Claiborne, University of Southern Cal.
Todd Light, the University of Notre Dame.
Terry Fair, University of Tennessee.
Lamar Campbell, University of Wisconsin.
Ron Rice, Eastern Michigan University.
It's 2nd down and 2 now from the 42-yard line. And this is Oz Hakeem making his first catch of the night. And the stellar punt returner and would-be 4th receiver takes the ball inside the 35 for a first down. Well, we've already seen most of their weapons. Mike Martz came over, was the offensive coordinator in the Super Bowl season '99. Then when Dick Vermeil retired, at least momentarily last year, he took over. And as you can see, 1,066 points in the 2 years that Martz has, in effect, called the plays. He called them as the offensive coordinator and still does as the head coach.
Well, the Ocaron phrase is out of the box, and I don't think anybody thinks more out of the box offensively than Martz.
First down at the 34-yard line. passes fall coming back. That is a forward pass, and thus an incomplete pass, even though he was behind the line of scrimmage.
I think March thinks that all the unwritten rules of football are unwritten because they're not worth the pen and paper you have to commit them. I just think tendencies are just out the window with March. He probably studies his own tendencies harder than he studies the other team.
Well, a lot of it has to do, Dennis, excuse me, with personnel. And nobody has better personnel than Mike March right now. The quarterback's perfect for the system. The receivers are as fast as anybody, and you've got Marshall Faulk.
And he does know how to use them, and use them all. 2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass. Warner throws it behind Hakeem, who comes back to make the catch and gets tackled at the 28-yard line. Bird is now 7 for 8. Jimmy Wyrick makes the tackle.
You know, the Lions were so ferocious on that first series with the pass rush that Marcy's going all the quick hitter stuff here.
Well, that's Vince Tobin, who will deal out or mete out the ferocity level of the Detroit defense. The Arizona head coach under Bill Bidwell, then he came here, and now under Marty Mornhinweg as the defensive coordinator.
And he simplified things for his defense. He doesn't want them thinking so much. When they think, they hesitate. When they hesitate, they miss tackles.
3rd and 3. All 7 plays on this drive have been passes. Now all 8 have been passes, and that's caught by Hakeem. First down to the 15-yard line.
Hakeem was thinking about his move before the ball even got there. The moment he made contact, it cut inside.
I think you're right, Dennis. Most great athletes, when they get out in space, they're thinking touchdown. They're just running through pylons, basically. Fair is one of them, and then he's smart enough to get down before he gets hit. See the anticipation on the throw there by Warner, threw it before Hakeem had even completed his route.
And Hakeem had planted the foot and was ready to do business.
From the 15-yard line, here come the Lions, but Warner's going to throw, and off his back foot, it's incomplete. Bruce covered well by Fair. Well, Eric Dickerson, you've seen a lot of offensive juggernauts in your lifetime. What about this one?
Well, one thing about this offense, it does not have a lot of tendencies. It's hard for a defensive coordinator to pinpoint what they want to do. Now, Marshall Faulk told me when he was in Indianapolis, they would go into a game with about 70 plays. In St. Louis, the Rams go into a game with 200 plays. I find it hard to believe what they said that.
Never give you the same look.
The thing I like about it is 199 of those plays are passes.
That's right. Every play on this drive has been a pass, and this is the 10th play of the drive, and that's a pass, and that's a touchdown. Oz Hakeem. So here's a team, the Rams, who start 3 and out. Then they have to take a timeout early in this drive, and whatever they talked about during that timeout got them squared away. Tobin, frustrated, removes the headset momentarily, and the Rams just went 80 to take the lead.
And it's a very simple post route by Hakeem. Missed tackle by Jimmy Wyrick. Walk-in for the Rams.
That was just a long handoff by Warner. That's what that was.
Well, he found a mismatch he wanted. Wyrick is no match for Oz Hakeem.
Jeff Wilkins for the point after. So the Rams are on top. It takes them 11 minutes, 30 seconds to get on the board, but then they go 80. Warner to Hakeem, 7-0, St. Louis. On ABC. Speaking of good shows, well, we have the Rams tonight. 7-0 with Wilkins kicking off, fielded at the 1-yard line. Desmond Howard behind a wedge brings it back out to the 25-yard line, and that's where Detroit will set up shop with 3 minutes 20 seconds remaining in the opening quarter in Pontiac, Michigan. 7-0 Rams. I asked Matt before the game, I said, how do you like living here in Detroit? He said, it's great living here in the Dome.
Working hard, is he?
A total workaholic. On first down, Detmer throws, and that's incomplete, intended for James Stewart.
Well, the crowd is going to boo a little on that play, but you got to hand it to the Rams secondary. Detmer did a nice job of moving around at offensive line with Aaron Gibson back in the game. Matt Millen's got to be happy with the pass protection, at least.
Well, Aeneas Williams has solidified that whole scene back there, and he says that Archuleta is a great learner, and this D comes together. This team's going to be an unstoppable force.
Second down and 10 from the 25-yard line. Stewart again, the one-time Jacksonville Jaguar with his best run of the night. Tommy Polley, the rookie from Florida State, knocks him down after a gain of 15 and a Lion first down.
Well, if the Lions have any advantage in this game, it's their size of their offensive line. They average about 325 pounds. James Stewart is a power running back. He gets to the outside. Rams with no support there. And the best running play, in fact, the best offensive play for the Lions tonight. Just what they need. Got to run that ball to death.
First down now at the 40-yard line, and they give it to Stewart again, and this time he is stopped at the line of scrimmage by Damian Lewis from Miami, the rookie, one of the number one draft choices. Let's check in with Melissa.
Al, I talked to Charlie Batch to get his reaction on being benched after week one. He completely disagreed with the decision. He didn't understand why he wasn't given a second chance, but Ty Detmer was after that 7-interception game. He called that a slap in the face. He felt he was grasping the West Coast offense, said he's had 3 terrific weeks of practice. His knee is finally 100%, and he's just waiting to get called to play.
Well, he was the quarterback of the future the last time the Lions played in a Monday night game in 1998. Flag. And Dan, he could still be the quarterback of the future. Oh, that's to be determined.
Well, the future could come real early.
False start. Number 66 offense. Moving prior to the snap. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
And what Melissa said before the game is that Morningweg would not hesitate to pull Detmer if he throws interceptions, as he did right there. You see those 7. But the thing about Charlie Batch, the key is, and she also mentioned this, is that he's healthy now. His knee is fine, and Marty Morningweg saw that in practice the last 2 weeks, so he has more confidence to put Batch in the game if needed.
You know, when we talked to Morningweg, he gave us a completely different look at that demotion. He said Batch handled it well.
Well, the Rams have to call a timeout. They're second. Charlie Batch listening intently.
Sorry I interceded on you as we went to commercial there, Al, but don't you remember when we talked to Morningweg, he was talking about, oh, Charlie handled the demotion great. Sounds like Melissa got a different take on it from Charlie.
Well, Charlie knows that he's going to get back in there at some point. I mean, you're just an injury away from being the quarterback, so he's got to put on a positive face and get himself ready to play.
What makes you think I don't like interceptions, by the way? Here's Stewart on 2nd and 14.
Well, I hate to get in the way of a commercial.
You know, Dennis said
that's a problem.
Dennis once had 7 interceptions in one game. I loved every one of them.
And they left me in.
That's right. No hook for you. You were here all week.
Marty's got a little Terry Bowden in his face, doesn't he?
He's got a goatee. I've never seen a goatee on a head coach. I kind of like it.
3rd down 10. The ball at the 40-yard line. 7-0. The Rams, the only unbeaten team in the league. Trying to go to 4-0. The pass is caught underneath by Schlesinger, but he gets knocked down at the 49-yard line. That is a first down saving tackle up at the 49-yard line by Aeneas Williams, but he pays the price. And Williams, the longtime Cardinal, one of the best corners in the league for years, is down on all 4s.
Now Schlesinger goes about 250 pounds. When he turns up the field, he's got that old head of steam going. He knows he's got to get this first down. So he plows right into Aeneas Williams, who also gets hit from behind. 35 is Williams. Watch Schlesinger.
Now,
Big hit by Aeneas.
How does this kid have no runs from the line of scrimmage this year? I mean, I know he's nice at receiving the ball. He's got 8 catches already, but how do you not run him?
That's the style of the West Coast offense. Fullback is a blocker and a receiver. Big concerns for the Rams, though, if Aeneas Williams can't go. He is their stopper corner.
Been around a long time, but as you can see, because of playing with the Cardinals and their very infrequent appearances on Monday night, only his 3rd Monday night game in his long and very distinguished career, which could wind up in Canton. He's been that good. Here's Hakeem at the 17-yard line. And he's bounced out of bounds at the 30-yard line with 28 seconds remaining. in the first quarter. Hard to believe. I mean, the season still young. We're at the 1/4 mark right now with a postponed week, and yet just one undefeated team, the Rams.
Yeah, the amazing thing, you got 3 teams that are a surprise. Chicago, Cleveland, and San Diego taking advantage of that 5th place schedule very nicely. In fact, this will be the last time anybody in the league will be able to take advantage of that.
I think Nick Bonaconti's got that cold duck on ice tonight, ready to pop it here if the Rams go down.
Every week, every one of those Dolphins from the 1972 team, all they want to do is just make sure there are no goose eggs under the L column in the newspaper. On 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. This is Ernie Conwell for a gain of 7. I can't believe that's the first time in my entire career I've uttered goose egg, Denny. This is what you've done to me now. I've now gone back to like high school broadcasting.
I said cold duck and took you into foul territory.
Yes, you did.
Easy.
Yes.
Remember, the Ducks are 4-0.
That's right, the Oregon Ducks.
What happened to Oregon State up there, huh?
It doesn't matter. The Ducks are 4-0.
All right. You went to Oregon State, though.
No.
Well, speaking of goose eggs, that is the end of the first quarter, and that's what Detroit has up on the board. At the end of 1, it is St. Louis 7, Detroit 0, and Monday Night Football returns to Pontiac, Michigan after this from our ABC stations. First of the 49ers' 5 Super Bowl wins. They beat Cincinnati. They work on Aeneas Williams on the Ram bench. We start the second period. 2nd down and 3 for St. Louis from the 37-yard line. Isaac Bruce flaring out to the right, and the pass is incomplete over the middle, intended for Oz Hakeem, covered by Chris Claiborne. And let's take a look at the numbers for the first quarter of play.
Well, if you're thinking that the Lions are doing a good job stopping the run, well, they are. But what about the passing? Kurt Warner is off to a fantastic start. Only has missed 3 passes on the evening. And when you throw on as accurately as Warner does, you're going to have a huge advantage in first downs.
Martz's offensive approach is to take what you don't give him.
Rams have run the ball only once, Falk -3. They have passed on 13 straight plays. And you can make it 14 here as Warner slings it to Falk for a first down. And then Bailey knocks him out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
Amazing thing to me, Dennis, is that Warner's allowed to come out of the backfield against this very loose zone defense because the Lions are afraid Warner's going to bomb them with the long pass. But they're just giving up Falk without anybody on him man for man. There's no spy on Falk. There's nobody guarding him man-to-man out of that backfield, and the result is another first down.
Well, I always thought Montana was the most accurate passer I or anybody else had ever seen, but Warner is right there. I think he picks a shoulder pad that he wants to put it on. He's that accurate.
1st and 10 from the 47-yard line. Warner under pressure, but throws and somehow finds an open man. Isaac Bruce got into the seam at the 36-yard line.
Just the right amount of loft. Threw the change up there.
And a whole lot of confidence in knowing that as Aeneas Williams goes off the field, knowing that Isaac Bruce is going to find the hole in this defense of the Lions. There's Bruce. He sees that dying quail. Stops, makes the catch. Another great throw. We've seen a lot of variety out of Warner already tonight.
You know, you're right, Dan. It almost looked like he wasn't throwing to a player there. It's just he knew where he'd be and he threw it to the spot.
Yeah, absolutely right, Dennis.
And Warner angry because he has to take a timeout. So the only thing the Rams have really done wrong since that first 3-and-out series is use all of their timeouts. 2 on offense, 1 on defense. But they still lead 7-0, and they're still driving. Kurt Warner. Most of you know the story, an amazing tale. 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Arena League, World League, and now All World. Touchdown. Holt. So they took a timeout on that first drive and then proceeded to march down the field 80 yards. They take a timeout here, and the next play is a 36-yard touchdown pass.
Hey, if you can burn 3 timeouts a half for 21 points, why not?
Well, it's a deep corner route by Torrey Holt. Watch Ron Rice. He's got good coverage here, but Holt's too fast. He runs behind him, and another perfect pass by Kurt Warner. Warner went over the sidelines, was hot about using that timeout. Mike Martz apologized and called the touchdown play the next play.
So the Rams go 70 yards, 5 plays. Tonight they have run the ball once, thrown it 17 times, and lead 14-7. Christy Yamaguchi and others come together to pay tribute to the 1961 U.S. figure skating team. That's Sunday here on ABC as Desmond Howard takes the kickoff in the end zone and then gets knocked down to the 22-yard line. Let's check in with Melissa.
Al, Lovie Smith has made a name for himself in the NFL on defense, but in high school, it was all about offense. In 1975, Smith's high school team in Big Sandy, Texas, set a national scoring record with 824 points. It stood for 19 years. Smith was an all-state tight end and linebacker. The defense wasn't too shabby either. 11 shutouts, only 15 points allowed. I'll tell you more in a minute.
I go way back with Lovie when he was married to Jim Backus.
From the 21-yard line, Detmer throws Schlesinger, gain of 4, and for the rest of the story, Melissa.
Al, his record
is the kind of guy who will be a head coach someday. He is that good. Martz, of course, loves him, and he knows him from their days together at Arizona State. 2nd and 6. Detmer throws, finds the open man. That's David Sloan, the tight end, to the 50-yard line. So David Sloan, who had not played well in the first couple of games, in fact had incurred the wrath of Matt Millen, makes a big play here.
He had 4 drops against Green Bay because he had a broken hand in training camp. Detmer with a beautiful throw. Look at the time he has to throw here. Offensive line doing a great job, and Sloan gets in the seam. That's just his 3rd catch of the year, but he's a big weapon in this West Coast offense for Ty Detmer.
24-yard gain to the 49. Lions trying to get back in it. Corner blitz, and they flip it out. That's Desmond Howard. And Howard to the 41-yard line. So the Lions are able to get the crowd back into the game.
Well,
but there's a flag down at the 47.
Ty had his radar on because McLeon was coming hard.
Yeah, I think McLeon may have been offsides, Dennis.
That's why he was coming hard. Bucking up in there hard.
He was, but this one is going to go against Detroit.
Boy, and penalties have just killed this team in 2 games. Now in 3, that's 20 penalties.
Block in the back. Number 87 during the run. A 10-yard penalty remains first down.
Johnny Morton.
And that'll go down as a running play for Desmond Howard because Detmer had to throw the ball so soon he threw a backward pass.
Well, it's like you said in your opening, Dano. They have to play perfect tonight. They can practically have no penalties, much less killing ones like that.
Rams are still minus Aeneas Williams. The report is a pinched nerve in his neck. He's back in the locker room being examined, and Dre Bly takes his spot at the corner. First down and 16 after the penalty. Detmer throws. That's caught by Stewart. And Stewart knocked out of bounds by Tommy Polley up at the 49-yard line.
Now, even though that was a short completion, what it does, it gives that offense confidence to come back from a penalty and on the very next play get back to a normal down and distance situation. So Detmer is doing a lot better job of running this offense. He is 8 out of 10 so far, but for only 62 yards.
Marty Mornhinweg was the offensive coordinator with the 49ers under Steve Mariucci for the last 4 seasons. Now this is Stewart on 2nd and long, taking it to the 48-yard line. It'll set up a 3rd down and 7. You look at Marty Mornhinweg, it's kind of a typical coach's resume in a way. A guy who got a break, started out in high school and then bounced around a lot of colleges. In '94, he was the offensive coordinator at Northern Arizona. Then he went to Green Bay under Holmgren. then to San Francisco. He's 39 years old. He's the second youngest coach in the league. The only coach younger than Mornhinweg would be John Gruden at Oakland. 3rd down and 6 from the 48-yard line. Here come the Rams, and there goes Detmer. They blitz, and it's Brian Young who gets credit for the sack, the tackle.
And when they come with the blitz, they're just bringing one man extra. They come in with a 4-down lineman. And Dexter McCleon came on the blitz that time. That's 2 sacks now for the Rams tonight. London Fletcher got the sack earlier. But Brian Young is number 66. He's just going to come right up the middle. Lamont Warren late with the pickup.
That Jets kick is a short one. Hakeem is going to let it bounce. And it takes a Ram bounce and is down at the 36-yard line. That boot only 20 yards. And that's a familiar sound when your team is 0-2 and down by 14. You know the way coaches love to say, we have to establish the run? Not Mike Martz. That one rush, -3.
Yeah, they really got to work on that running game. Marshall Faulk, I mean, he looks terrible tonight.
That's right.
He does have 3 catches, though.
-3 average on the ground. 1st and 10. Will they throw again? What else is new? What else is new? A completion. Bruce to the 41-yard line. Kurt Warner out of nowhere, of course, to that miraculous season in '99. Good year last year despite being hurt and suffering a concussion toward the end. Through his first 30 starts, that's a comparison. And you can take a look at where he ranks all the quarterbacks in history. 1st in passing yardage, 1st in pass rating, 1st in completion percentage, 1st in yards per pass. Unbelievable. 1st down at the 47-yard line. This is Faulk. And that is a good way to compare people because a lot of quarterbacks come up as 22, 23-year-olds. Warner coming up in his late 20s, but it's a look at how quarterbacks have fared at certain points in their career.
Yeah, he's a late bloomer, plain and simple. When he was with the Green Bay Packers, he had problems just communicating. He was very nervous, very shy. The experience with the Arena League, the experience in Europe matured him, and then he found himself with an unbelievable football team and a coach that believes in him.
So Warner just resting his arm after 17 straight pass plays, and then the Lions break through, but Marshall Faulk is able to recover it. That's Robert Porcher breaking up the play on the initial handoff, but the Rams recover.
Porcher just got sick of it, blew the gap.
Well, he told me that they're not going to do a whole lot of reading in this game. There he is, and he gets on the pitch man there before Faulk can get the ball.
Well,
the
that's
Lions,
one way.
they've just got to go after Warner. They're not getting any pressure on him at all. So look for Porcher and for Scroggins and Luther Ellis to start putting more pressure.
They got to throw caution to the wind, right, Dano?
Yeah, they have to.
3rd down and 17. Warner throws, caught, and that's Isaac Cruz who does everything but get the 1st down. He needed 17 and got 15 to the 38-yard line.
Well, the amazing thing about Warner is 2 out of 3 times this guy steps on the field, he throws for over 300 yards. He's just setting stats that you don't know if anybody else will touch ever. The only reason he's behind on touchdown passes at this point is because Marino had that freakish second year with 48.
And this is a typical example of when you have this kind of an offense, you don't even think about not going for it. It's 4th down and 2 at the 38-yard line. They empty the backfield. And the pass is incomplete, so the Lions are able to hold. Ricky Prohl, the intended receiver.
This offense just doesn't work.
7:02 left in the half. 14-0, St. Louis. Was along with Matt Millen addressing the football team earlier today.
And what they talked about, Al, is that the things that you go through as a ball player, teamwork, togetherness, hard work, are the same things that are going to get you through the very near future, the tough times ahead.
First and 10 now for Detroit at the 39-yard line as Detmer throws, caught on a slant. Johnny Morton takes the ball to the Rams' 48-yard line, 13-yard gain and a first down.
Yeah, there's really no reason for the Lions to panic. They're only down by 14. They have to be feel very fortunate about that. Good play action, a nice slant route by Johnny Morton. He's a dangerous weapon for the Lions. 2 straight 100-yard games so far on the season, and if he can get things going, the Lions have half a field to work with here at the end of the first half.
At the 48-yard line. Short drop, Detmer throws, pass is caught. He goes to Johnny Morton again in his 8th year at the University of Southern California. He has become the #1 receiver. For many years it was Herman Moore, who is still on the team but has been beset by injuries, and Herman is now at best the #3 receiver.
And you know that Johnny Morton remembers the last time he saw the Rams, he caught the winning touchdown pass from Gus Frerotte. With time running out. There's Herman Moore on the sidelines.
I think the Rams remember it.
Second down and 3 from the 42-yard line. Back to the ground is Stewart, and he cannot get out of the backfield. That's Tommy Polley, who's been in on a few plays tonight. Rookie out of Florida, but he was the 4th rookie chosen, even though he was picked in the 2nd round because they had 3 first-round picks.
Well, he's playing at the middle linebacker spot here as the Rams shift their linebackers over. There's Fletcher. But watch the move by Polley. Just like a running back, finding the hole in the offensive line, getting inside Eric Beverly and stopping Stewart for a loss.
I think I said Florida, Ed State.
Yeah, you better.
He's a Seminole, not a Gator. 3rd down and 4. Detmer throws. That's caught by Morton to the 28-yard line, and a first down again for Detroit. 3 catches on this drive for Johnny Morton.
Well, that offensive line did a great job keeping the pressure away from Detmer. Detmer's been sacked twice tonight, and both of them were on 3rd down. So here he is, Morton working the inside against the zone of the Rams, inside of Archuleta there. And what Detmer needs at 6 foot tall is a passing lane. He gets one from that big offensive line.
Lamont Warren had a great blitz pickup there, too.
From the 28-yard line, Stewart to the 27, stopped by Ahanotu. Let's check in with Melissa.
Al, Johnny Morton says he looks at his never gets tired on the field. He hasn't missed a game due to injury in his 8-year career.
How do you like a guy named Morton who won't eat salt?
Second down and 9, or steak. And there's a flag that's caught by David Sloan at the 16-yard or the 16-yard line, but the penalty is going to go against Detroit.
These penalties are devastating.
In fact, there are 2 flags. I don't know if it's for the same call. We'll find out. Well, one is defensive holding. Now, is there a separate call here?
No, I think they both saw the same thing. When Sloan went down the field, it looked like he might have pushed off, but the reason he was trying to push off is because he was being held.
Holding. Number 52 defense. Penalty is declined. Take the result of the play. Your first down.
They stand corrected. One official pointed toward Detroit, but both calls the same call, holding. First down at the 16-yard line for Detroit.
Tommy Polley is a guilty party. Here he is right there. He's got that right hand up underneath the shoulder pad. There's the push off by Sloan. That's a good call.
Fake to Stewart. Detmer rolling. Good job by the secondary. Just a great job by the secondary. Nobody got free, and Adam Archuleta takes him down and gets credit for a sack at the 19.
Lovie Smith has to be very happy with this coverage. Dre Bly filling in for Aeneas Williams. He's got Crowell deep in the end zone. This is Morton on the other side of the field. He's going to run a crossing route here. Not with a lot of conviction, though, although he did get open. And then when his quarterback was in trouble, he tried to come back towards the line of scrimmage. Good job by the Rams secondary.
First sack of Archuleta's career. Second down and 13 from the 19-yard line. Detmer throws off balance, intercepted. Dre Bly with the pick, and Dre Bly with only one man to beat and a blocker to take care of that one man who's Detmer, and he will prance into the end zone.
Will Morenweg have seen enough there, Dad? It doesn't take 7 interceptions. It just takes one really bad one.
Well, that was a bad one. He kind of threw that ball off his back foot, forced it down the field. But how quickly did the Rams turn from defense to offense as Dre Bly took it the length of the field and got help.
Yeah, you need to give up the defensive touchdown against the Rams.
93-yard touchdown interception return for Dre Bly, and now Wilkins for the point after. And the crowd beginning to chant, "Charlie, Charlie." What a shock.
Detmer was looking for man-to-man coverage of Dre Bly on Jermaine Crowell. And it's going to be on this side of the screen. So check out Detmer as he goes back. Under pressure from Fletcher, he gets picked up. But on the outside, Archuleta came free. That's why Detmer never set his feet to throw that ball. There's the matchup he was looking at. Crowell had him on the inside, but because he couldn't set and throw, the ball came up short, right in the hands of Dre Bly.
We saw Kurt Warner throw that pass perfectly around 3 series ago, but Ty just undershot the mark a little.
Well, there's one big difference between Warner and Ty Detmer. Ty Detmer's arm strength is not good enough to be able to throw the ball off balance, as Kurt Warner can do.
Dre Bly's been in the league 3 years, had a touchdown against Carolina in his rookie season. This is his second. That's also his 3rd pick of 2001.
And you know what? He's thinking, man, I got to go right back out there. He just ran 93 yards, got a little glass of water on the sidelines. Now the realization hits that, hey, we're going to be on defense in about 5 seconds.
Detmer might be thinking the same thing. I got to go out there too.
I'm thinking I got to brush up on some shadow puppets for the second half.
Detmer had been 4 for 4 on that drive prior to the pick. Wilkins sends the ball down to Howard at the 3-yard line. Desmond brings it back out to the 25. Monday Night Football. They want Greg Landry. You realize the Lions have gone 30 years without sending a quarterback to the Pro Bowl? Not just a starter, any quarterback to any Pro Bowl. 30 years. This is James Stewart. Bowling balls his way out to the 47-yard line, knocking down pins.
Great effort by James Stewart. He's not a burner, but he's a tough guy. Good play call by the Lions, too. Know the heat's coming. The Lions have got to throw the ball, so the Rams are going to bring it. Perfect call.
1st and 10 without a huddle, coming up on the 2-minute warning. Final play before the stoppage is a pass over the middle that is caught, this time by Lamont Warren. That's a 2nd and 2 upcoming at the 45. 2-minute warning comes with $1:58 left in the opening half. The St. Louis Rams, the only undefeated team in the National Football League, trying to stay that way. And then in our other segment, mic'd up, Marshall Faulk.
RB's on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Special people make special plays on special days.
So you'll hear Marshall Faulk mic'd up at the half and talking about special people. He is one.
And he was talking to Dre Bly, who just made a special play
to make it 21-0. And now the Lions desperately trying to get back into the game. Detmer has to pull it down and take off, and he picks up the 1st down at the 38-yard line, but there's a flag, and this one's coming back. So it would have been a 1st down. Instead will be a 2nd and long now. Tom White. Ready for some white noise.
Illegal use of the hands to the head, number 75. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Matt Joyce filling in for Aaron Gibson. He's going to get that hand up in the face and get the call. Very easy to see because he's out on the outside here working against Leonard Little. Watch Little's head go back right there. There's that right hand. Very unnecessary for Matt Joyce to do that. He had him blocked.
4 penalties tonight against Detroit. None against the Rams that have been accepted. And here comes another call.
Yeah, going to be a false start against Marty Lyons.
False start. Number 66 offense. Prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Brendan Sty. Well, we talked about Detmer's 7 picks. What was lost in that carnage was the fact that they had 15 penalties in the same game. In the history of the NFL, no team has ever had that dubious a duo.
And, you know, and half of those penalties were before the snap or after the whistle.
Right.
So they weren't even when the play was on.
Only one other team, Landry's last team in Dallas in '88. Little short dump off to Lamont Warren. 3rd and long, stopped by Damian Lewis.
Well, God is in the details, and Morenwig's got to tighten up these little things before he can look at the overall picture.
They've got to convert here, or they're going to give the ball back to the Rams with a lot of time left in the first half.
3rd down and 11. And this is Herman Moore who makes the catch, juggled, looked it into his hands, takes it to the 44, but he is stopped short of the first down, and Detmer will take a timeout.
Well, March just went on 4th and 2. It almost demands Morenwig do, or he's going to lose this crowd completely.
He has to in this situation, but the Rams are thankful for that timeout if they can stop him here, because then the Rams, without a timeout, will have a ton of time to get down the field.
Well, and it looked like Herman Moore just took a dive there. Looked like he had a chance to pick up that first down. Might have tripped on somewhere on the AstroTurf.
Reminder, college. Was Ariana Huffington in town as well? 4th and 1 now from the 44-yard line, and they give the ball to Schlesinger, and does he get the first down? Very close.
Dennis, you were asking Morningweg to give him the ball, so he does on 4th down and just over a yard. I don't think he got it.
Marty has the look of a guy who said, I didn't call that play.
Boy, doesn't he, though?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he had the look of a coach who said, I didn't call that play.
Well, you know, Dan, when we see a lot of these West Coast offenses, the offensive line's so nimble and quick. Do these big guys play this well? Gibson, Stalker, McDougal, is it conducive to their size?
Well, what they're trying to do is, like a lot of teams, do what they do best and then try to fit the passing game in with it.
Kevin Higgins is the quarterback's coach, and that was Higgins who calls he calls the plays into Detmer's helmet. They don't make it. Now you're wondering, I mean, they called a timeout. Did they not call the play, Dan, on the sideline to begin with?
Yes, they did. And it's unusual, to say the least. Great play by Tommy Polley, number 52, as he continues to show his maturity as a rookie. Here he is right here, along with Fletcher. Watch them read this play. There were just too many linebackers for the Lions to block.
Rams without a timeout at the 44-yard line, and Warner will go to work again. Dumps it off to Falk. Falk gets tackled at the 50-yard line by Jimmy Wyrick. It'll be 2nd down, 4.
The Rams are probably thinking 2 scores here.
Trying to put 10 points on the board. They could do it too. Warner has to spike it to stop the clock with 42 ticks. 3rd down and 4 upcoming.
You watch Warner, you watch Marshall Falk, you watch Mike Martz. They're all so calm. They're just so confident. No pressure, no stress. How can I get more points? That's all he's thinking about. How many times have you seen a game where the Rams and Marshall Falk has only rushed 3 times in the first half?
3 times, 2 yards. They've run the ball 3 times, passed the ball 22, and now 23 times with that throw to Bruce, who does not make the catch. Incomplete.
You know, there's a record that Kurt Warner does not have for the Rams, and that's most yards in one game, held by Norm Van Brocklin, a former Ram.
And now Warner, he wants to go for it, but March says, at this particular point, we've got him down 21-0. Let's just punt it. and hold them.
Wow, that's not like Marks.
At this point, though, with 37 seconds, 4th down, 50-yard line, you're up by 21. You don't want to go into the locker room not making it and giving Detroit some life.
I don't think they even want to go into the locker room at all. They want to just stay out here and keep pounding the ball.
They do. I don't think the Lions want to go in the locker room either. Howard makes the fair catch at the 25-yard line with 29 seconds remaining. And we can tell you that the aerial facilities tonight are provided by Goodyear. This facility opened in 1975. Fairly state-of-the-art then, but it's very long in the tooth right now. A lot of the fans are very happy the Lions will be moving into their new stadium, Ford Field, which is now under construction on the fringes of downtown Detroit. And that's where the Lions will play next year, and that's where the Super Bowl will be held following the 2005 season.
He takes a knee here, you're going to hear a fusillade of boos.
Well, you know he's going to take a knee, and there's your fusillade.
There'll be some explaining to do in the locker room.
Well, the Lions were down 14, and then they were marching, and then Dre Bly with an interception, a 93-yard run back. Will Batch get the call in the second half? At the end of the first half, it's St. Louis 21, Detroit nothing. Coming up next, Ted Koppel has an ABC News update, and then the Lexus halftime show when we come back to Pontiac, Michigan, after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC station. Detmer and Mike McMahon, who Marty Mornhinweg is extremely high on, the rookie from Rutgers. And if you listen to Marty yesterday, McMahon is the man of the future.
Yeah, he's just glad he's not the man tonight. Wither the Lions offense.
Yep.
Withered.
That's right. Forget the H. Rams get the ball first. Hanson's kick, a liner caught by Trunk Candidate, who might be the fastest of the Rams, but we'll never find out on that run back because he's tackled at the 22-yard line by Larry Foster.
Now, what would Woody Hayes or Bear Bryant think about the offense that the Rams are running? 88% of their plays have been pass plays. Kurt Warner's been on fire. No pressure at all from the Lions defensive line or linebackers. No sacks of Warner. And these are the type of numbers he's capable of putting up. He's hit 5 different receivers.
I'll tell you what Woody Hayes would have thought. He would have stepped off the sideline and clocked Charlie Bauman.
At the 22-yard line, first down. Falk, big hole, 7-yard gain, 2nd and 3 behind a Hodgins block. Let's go to ED.
Well, I talked to Mike Martz going in at halftime. He said that Kurt Warner got great protection in the first half. He said he saw something in the Lions' coverage that made him want to throw the ball as much as he did in the first half. But in the second half, he said you will see Marshall Faulk run the football more.
As was in evidence right there on the first play. Remember, they ran the ball for a total of 2 yards in the first half, and Faulk just gained 5, make it 7 right there. 2nd down and 3 from the 29-yard line. Double slot left, and Warner may be forced to take, and does, another timeout. So the Rams used all of their timeouts early in the first half, 2 on offense, 1 on defense. And it's about the only fly in this ointment. Timeout, St. Louis. Marty Mornhinweg's tenure has begun ingloriously, as evidenced there. First time in the history of this team they've trailed by 14 or more points at the half in each of the first 3 games of the season. This is a franchise that started as the Portsmouth, Ohio Spartans in 1930 and moved to Detroit. So you're looking at the 72nd season as Falk takes it up to the 34, and that's a first down.
We've been talking about how accurate Kurt Warner is. Let's show you what we're talking about. Dennis talked about throwing to his shoulder. Watch how easy he makes it for his receivers. The ball is right on the body. This 15-yard touchdown, now this 36-yarder to Torrey Holt. But every ball right in front of the receiver's eyes, right into his body. That is accurate.
Unfortunately for the Lions, the receivers don't stop like that.
Yeah.
1st and 10 at the 34-yard line. To the 40. Let's go to Melissa.
Alan, injury update on Todd Light. He suffered a bruised right shoulder in the first half, and his return is questionable.
In fact, right now, with Light out, Robert Bailey, who is a former Ram, is in there at Light spot at the corner.
Talk about being injured in the worst possible position you could be. The Lions secondary already without Bryant Westbrook, Kurt Schultz, and Thomas Bennett. Now Todd Light. That means the Lions have 5 defensive backs.
Against the Rams of all people. 2nd and 4. They blitz. The blitz is picked up. That gives Warner time. And the open man is Isaac Bruce for a first down at the Lion 47-yard line.
There's just no spark in this Lion football team, either on offense or defense. They lack the obvious physical speed to keep up with the Rams, but emotionally, there's just nobody out there that is firing this team up. Very simple route on the outside here for Isaac Bruce. Goes down about 12 yards. Where'd that ball hit him? Right dead in the chest.
He had a Keem for a touchdown deep down the middle, too, if he wanted it. Just didn't see him.
From the 47-yard line, Warner sets up the screen, and it's caught by Falk, and there's Marshall Falk, who had to one-hand it, and instead of an incomplete pass, as it would be with so many other backs on that particular play with a pass that errant, he brings it down and turns it into an 18-yard gain.
And it was almost as if he knew trouble was coming, too, because as soon as he makes this beautiful catch after the fake to Falk, pretty good play call here, fake the draw to him, then throw the screen. Watch how he feels the pressure from the Lions, gets some great blocks downfield. Watch number 61 come out here, Tom Newton. He's going to level a linebacker for the Lions. And Marshall gets out of bounds. Beautiful.
At the 29-yard line on first down. 4-man rush. Falk is open again, and he's tackled at the line of scrimmage. Marshall hauling in his 6th pass of the night. Falk came over in a trade with Indianapolis in 1999, so this is his 3rd season as a Ram, and there is the total for the top 3, the yards from scrimmage, which is rushing and receiving. Falk, then Edgerrin James of Indy, and then Eddie George at under 4,000. But you can see Marshall 5,100 yards from scrimmage in 2.25 seasons.
Well, thank God for Bill Polian that they brought Edgerrin James in there and got Mike Peterson, or you'd have a Lou Brock, Ernie Broglio type trade on your hands there.
2nd down and 10 from the 29. Light is back in the game at his cornerback position, and the pass is caught over the middle by Marshall Falk. Well, Light and fair. Denny, you did your best to ignite this team, but it's been lights out to this point.
Yeah, I hear they were mad at me about a comment I made last week. It was more about their names. It was a wordplay, but, you know, Millen and Morenweg got to be worried if the comedian on Monday Night Football is their bulletin board material.
The comedian who knows football.
They've got to get more revved up than getting mad at me.
The comedian knows motivation.
3rd and 4 at the 23. Warner. And this is Bruce and Isaac seeking the first down, trying to stay in bounds, and may have. He's out of bounds just at about the marker at the 19-yard line.
Well, you know, Morenweg did say to us that it's time for the players to kind of, and you'd hardly ever hear a coach say this, get their heads out of the playbooks and think about the bigger emotional overall picture. They've got to change their mindset in this franchise, and I was surprised to hear him say that. Usually that's all it's about for coaches is the playbook.
Well, it's a new offensive system. Defensively, they brought Vince Tobin in. There's Matt Millen, of course, who was given the reins by William Ford, the owner of the team.
12 men in the offensive huddle. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Well, now each team has been penalized for that infraction.
I think Matt took some time away from the squad earlier to work as a replacement ref, and that might have set them back.
Well, Matt, when he was working at Fox, and he did a great job at Fox for a number of years as their number 2 analyst behind John Madden. There are the Fords, senior, father and son. So the son on the left, of course, and William Clay Ford on the right.
Glad to see they're getting along there.
Looks like they're all sitting in a bunker.
1st and 15 at the 24-yard line as Warner throws, and that is caught by who else? Marshall Falk, and then he fumbles, and that is Stop the Press's news, because Marshall Falk almost never fumbles. But Detroit comes up with it here.
And this could be the turning point in the game.
I know it is. I know it is.
It's a great throw by Kurt Warner because Chris Claiborne was all over the back of Marshall Faulk. He's got to be terribly disappointed that he laid this one on the ground there.
Faulk handled the ball 337 times last season without a fumble, but he coughs it up here. And then Barry Sanders at 513, and Faulk had handled it 502 times in a row. The last time he fumbled was 99. The last time he fumbled on a pass reception was 96 as a Colt. And that puts some spark into the Lions as Charlie Batch is in the game, and James Stewart has his best run of the season to the 40-yard line.
Stay with us, folks. This one's just starting.
Well, maybe Batch is just the better handoff guy.
Well, what he does is he's already sparked this team, and that's what Marty Mornhinweg is looking for. Beautiful draw play. Schlesinger has nobody to block. That's how big that hole is for Stewart. But watch the intensity as he goes down the sidelines. Herring pushes him out of bounds, but he's fired up, and so's this crowd.
At the 40-yard line, Stewart. Dan, isn't it funny how, quarterbacks just fall in and out of favor? In 98, as you look at his season numbers here, and that's the opener at Green Bay, he's the new kid on the block. They all want to see him. Then he kind of has, he waffles, and he's in and out. He has his ups and downs, and they're looking for somebody else. Now they want him back. Now they're in love with him again.
The most popular player on any team is the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Unless your starter is Kurt Warner.
That's right. Or Dan Fouts. 2nd and 8 at the 42-yard line. And that's caught by Jermaine Crowell, who's had a silent night to this point, up at the 47-yard line.
Now, Melissa talked about Ty Detmer's stats in that first half. They were pretty darn good. But the one interception came on when the Lions were moving down the field inside the 20-yard line. And Dre Bly took it back 93 yards. But James Stewart has got to get more rushing yards, as we've seen. First couple plays here in the second half is what the Lions need right now.
3rd down and 2 at the 48-yard line. Good play fake, buys time. Good throw, Herman Moore. It's like a blast from the past for the Lions. Tackled by Dre Bly.
And the attendant crowd noise. This is what Martz did not want, to let him back into the game. The crowd is engaged.
Yeah, when you watch Charlie, he does look a lot healthier. He had a bad knee. The last couple of weeks, he's been able to rest it. Good fake here. Lions been running the ball well. But look how he is able to step up with no pressure around him. This is a perfect pass to Herman Moore. And if he can get the ball to Moore and Crowell and Morton and continue to run the ball with Stewart, we may have a ball game.
Well, maybe this is what the demotion of Batch gets you. When he gets back in, he never wants to get back out again.
From the 27-yard line, and all of a sudden there's miscommunication. Crowell cut off his route, and Dexter McClean has a clean pick. Crowell had stopped at about the 15-yard line. Charlie thought he was going to the end zone, and the result, an interception. Rams get it back. 7 minutes left in the 3rd. Against Roger Staubach and the Cowboys. And then the Raiders and Colts on ESPN on Sunday night at 8:30 Eastern Time. As Marshall Faulk gets up to the 30-yard line.
Part of the growing pains of the learning process of any new scheme, and especially the West Coast offense, communication between the quarterback and the receiver. What Crowell saw is he saw McClean deep here, so he broke his route out to the outside. Well, Batch is thinking touchdown all the way. The result, Dexter McCleon's first interception of the year. But total miscommunication between Batch and Jermaine Crowell.
Hey, let's get back to the Cowboys Redskins.
Old Timers Day.
Ooh, better get that Clint Longley footage ready.
We've got it. 2nd and a short one from the 30-yard line. And this is Faulk to the 34. Of course, that will be the 482nd game in the history of Monday Night Football. I don't know what it is, the perversity of people all day long. Steve Hurd, our director of information, and myself and others, people want to know, have we ever had a game on Monday Night Football with 0-4 teams? No. First time in 482 games.
There's a chance they could both be 0-5.
I don't think so. Well, they could be 0-4-1.
Well, let's hope
if they tie, that ought to go down as a loss.
From the 34, well, it'll be competitive if nothing else. From the 34-yard line, here is Warner on a pump fake and then a draw that doesn't work, and Robert Porcher is there to sniff it out.
Well, out of the 200 plays in the playbook, that might be one they want to delete.
They'll bring that back and run it more effectively, though.
Watch the hand.
Done.
Excuse me, Albert. Watch the handwork of Robert Porcher here. Little slap there. He goes right by Tucker. And again, it looked like Tucker was expecting some different type of run play than that draw the Rams tried to run there.
Did you not bring up reach-around draw with Martz last night? Was he trying that there?
That was a version.
2nd and 16. Here come the Lions. Rams pick it up, and then the pass is incomplete. A little bit low, and Isaac Bruce went down and couldn't hold on. You know, the funny thing is, you look at the Rams, guys, is here's a team. Teams normally have a transition year from terrible to great. Not these guys. In 98, they stunk. Nobody really expected a major transformation in 99. And then by the end of the season, they're like double-digit favorites in every game, including the Super Bowl. And last year, who knows, if they didn't have as many injuries as they did, they might have been back again.
Well, I think Martz learned a major lesson when he came in that first year under Vermeil. You can decimate one side of the team and replace it immediately. They did it offense that year. They did it defense this year.
And the crowd gets the Rams to jump off sides here. But, you know, the other part, we've been talking about how all these teams are struggling, learning new schemes, new systems on offense and defense. The Rams have not had any problem learning Lovie Smith's new scheme.
False start. Number 76, offense, the 5-yard penalty remains 3rd down.
Orlando Pace, nor did they have any problem with Mike Martz's scheme when he came in 99.
And I think the one common denominator is Martz went after speed and more speed, both on offense and on defense.
3rd down and 21 now. Speaking of speed. Warner throws.
Wow.
Well, of all things, Isaac Bruce drops 2 in a row.
Once again, back to Eric Dickerson at the beginning of the game. It seems like they've disengaged here a little, and you're seeing little errors that you don't usually see from the Rams.
Yeah, last series we saw a rare Marshall Faulk fumble. Now a rare Isaac Bruce drop. Took his eye off it, didn't he? Looking upfield. He knew he was short of the first down. He was planning that 2nd and 3rd move.
First drop was more Warner's fault on a low pass, but that one right there between the numbers is John Baker will punt.
Done!
Desmond Howard will call for the fair catch at the 37-yard line with 4:42 remaining in the 3rd in the Silver Dome in Pontiac. Rams 21, Lions nothing.
And maybe apply some ointment there.
Try to get back in it again as Batch throws. This time it is caught by Jermaine Crowell. And we have talked about Lovie Smith coming in as the defensive coordinator. He had been the linebackers coach at Tampa. And these numbers will illustrate the improvement on a yards allowed per game basis, as you can see. Rushing and passing, and points allowed down 11 per game.
Well, Martz has given Lovie the same wide berth that Vermeil gave him when he became the offensive coordinator.
This is Stewart. Eric, what's your take on the improvement on that side of the ball?
Well, one thing, Al, they have a game tackling defense. Lovie Smith wants 11 guys around the football at all times. They also punish the runner and the receiver all the way to the ground. Now, before this game, they had 8 turnovers in just 3 games. They got another one tonight by Dre Bly, returned for a touchdown. Now they have 9 turnovers.
Right, and then McLean was able to pick one off on the last Detroit drive at the 48-yard line. Batch throws, and that is caught by Jermaine Crowell at the 28-yard line. Eric, you mentioned they want everybody going to the ball. Why wouldn't every defensive coordinator teach all 11 to the ball?
Oh, foul. I'm sorry. Well, one thing is, you know, it's hard to get veteran players to run to the ball 30 yards down the field in practice. But the Rams have actually bought into it. Now the players actually police each other and make sure they do it. That is one reason this defense is playing so good right now.
At the 28-yard line, first down. Stewart. Inside the 15. Well, the Lions proving they are anything but dead. Again, they are driving, and now they have a first and goal.
Stewart's been game all night.
Well, they may need 12 men to the ball because it looked like Stewart ran through all 11 on this play. They're having a lot of success running straight at the Rams. Using that size, that block by Aaron Gibson was key there. Broken tackle there by Kim Herring. And now Stewart all the way inside the 10.
First and goal now from the 8. By the way, Aeneas Williams has come back. He has played. He's not in on this particular play, though. There's a flag, and this is Lamont Warren for a momentary 1-yard pickup.
They're going to get Stalker McDougal for holding right at the point of attack, right in front of the umpire, and another mistake for the Lions.
You know, Al, you're talking about Aeneas Williams. He told us all the defense he's played over the years. This is the first defense he's played in where you get...
Number 73 offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Where you get a negative grade for loafing. Everybody has to run to the ball or they subtract points if you're not sprinting as fast as you can. He says he's never seen that before.
He looks over on the other side of the field. He sees his old head coach, Vince Tobin. Foul on McDougal. By the way, the assistant coach you saw was Carl Mock, the offensive line coach. If you sent to Central Casting for an offensive line coach, they send you back Carl Mock.
Yeah, he's a Matt Millen guy.
First and goal at the 18-yard line. And that pass is incomplete, intended for Desmond Howard coming out of the backfield.
There he is, Carl Mock, my first center in the NFL, and he was about 100 pounds lighter, but the fire burned just as warm. He'll let you know.
Two of the best offensive line coaches in the game in Mock, and on the other side, of course, Jim Hannafin, the longtime assistant coach, and Jim had coached with the old St. Louis Cardinals. There he is. In fact, Dan Deerdorf had Jim Hannafin give him his induction speech when Dan went into the Hall of Fame.
Probably the most beloved offensive line coach in the history of the game.
Second and goal. That is caught out here by Pete Mitchell, the tight end, to the 14-yard line.
But going back to that penalty on McDougal, the Lions were rolling. They had a good feeling about themselves, a little momentum going. Stewart was popping Rams back, and McDougal gets called on that penalty at the 8-yard line, and now that just seems to have taken all the air, all that spark out of the Lion offense.
Third down goal now from the 13.
Do you miss Carl Mock?
No, I get to see him every year. You know, there he is.
That's a connection a man never loses.
Back, slipping up under pressure, gets sacked, loose ball, and the Lions can't even cover it up. Leonard Little forced it. Leonard Little, is this play dead or not? It's still alive. No Lion has tackled a Ram, and that is Grant Wistrom, who gets escorted into the end zone. So you have a sack, a fumble, the opportunity to recover it, which they couldn't. Leonard Little created it. And now you've got a flag down, however, back at the 30-yard line on the far side of the field. In fact, there are two. There's one at the 30 and there's one at the 43.
You know, I think what happened is that the Rams saw the fumble, the offense was coming out onto the field. The offense of the Rams thought that the play was blown dead, and they were out on the field.
Because there are two flags over on the Ram bench, and wouldn't this be an interesting call for too many men on the field?
And somebody's going to have to answer to Grant Wistrom, because he picked that one up, and he ran all the way for the touchdown, and it's going to come all the way back.
It'll come back. It's a post-possession foul, though. Trying to run this through in my head.
Yep.
It would still be the Rams' ball.
You know, Brendan Stye had this fumble recovery. It was almost like at the county fair in the Greased Pig. Jumped on top of it, the ball went away.
Yeah, unsportsmanlike conduct.
And incorporated in that call would be too many men on the field. Tom's going to give it to us in chunks.
Well, Batch gets hit by Leonard Little. There's the ball loose. Watch Brendan Stye. I got it. Whoop. There it goes. Now, no Lion will get on Grant Wistrom. His teammates pull him to his feet, and off he goes.
I don't think the Rams thought the play had been blown dead and came on the field. I just think Wistrom took a long time getting down there.
Correction, it's not illegal unsportsmanlike conduct. It's an illegal substitution. Players from the bench came on during the return. There'll be a 5-yard penalty. St. Louis will retain the ball. First down.
So it's post-possession when the foul occurs, which means St. Louis keeps it. In the meantime, I'm sure my ears didn't deceive me. The crowd was just chanting, "Let's go Red Wings."
Well, they want Del Vecchio in at quarterback.
You remember Alex Del Vecchio?
Oh, please.
You are
Come
amazing.
on. If you don't remember Al Del Vecchio, you're dreaming.
I see a squid on the field.
Well, sometimes the Ram receivers do look like they have 8 arms. Or is that an octopi, Al? I don't know.
An octopus has 8, a squid has 10.
Really?
But 8 is not enough. 8 used to be enough.
So octopi are envious of squid.
It depends.
What about calamari?
But the squids get all the ink. Boom!
They're here all week.
Try the veal.
From the 37-yard line, the Rams taking over. Marshall Faulk up to the 45-yard line. Well, if you miss Home Improvement, check this one out. Wednesday here on ABC at 8:30 Eastern and Pacific, 7:30 Central on Mountain Time. It's According to Jim, the new Jim Belushi show. Open to very fine reviews this week. Coming up after My Wife and Kids on ABC Wednesday night.
Jimmy Belushi's a great guy. Been on the road with him. They'd still do the Blues Brothers. We've been out there jamming at corporates together. Rocking and rolling.
Jimmy's here all week, too. At least till Wednesday.
Good man, Jimmy Belushi.
Second down and 3. They have Trunk Candidate in the backfield. And the Arizona second-year guy at the 45-yard line. The backup to Marshall Faulk gets taken down by Luther Ellis on what will be the final play of the third quarter. So the Lions have seen 2 drives stymied. And the score remains the same as it was at the half. St. Louis 21, Detroit nothing, and Monday Night Football is back after this message from our ABC stations. And right now 15 minutes away from making it 4-0. And the fourth quarter commences with a 3rd down and 2 for St. Louis at their own 45-yard line. And it's Isaac Bruce on an end around with room to roam. Picks up the first down and gets taken down at the Detroit 45.
Now Kurt Warner in the Rams offense has the perfect duo of wide receivers, and that man, Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt. You know, it's hard to tell them apart. Very similar builds. About the same type of speed, but what really sets them apart from and makes them so dangerous is their average yard per catch. And Torrey Holt's goal this year is to get it over 20. Last year at 19.9. I wouldn't bet against him.
Well, that graphic was cool. It reminded me of those synchronized swimmer girls.
Marshall Faulk to the 43-yard line. Marshall has now carried the ball 9 times for 31 yards. Well, if somebody would have told us before the game Faulk would have only 9 carries for 31 yards in the fourth quarter, you'd have thought Detroit would be very much in the game.
But what they didn't count on is Kurt Warner throwing every play in that first half.
I love you guys.
How much? Second down and 8 at the 43. Slips a tackle, takes it to the 30-yard line. You got spoiled last year, Dendu, didn't you?
Well, Al, you know, the games have grit this year, to put a positive spin on it. Last year they were seamless, great, timeless, for the ages. This year, we're dealing with the human condition. Just the way it is, Al. You know, you can live up in some castle in the sky and think that everything's a great finish. He did what? But this is football, my friend. Dennis, sorry. This is football, my friend.
That is football, yes. Watch Kurt Warner spin the ball, trying to find a comfortable grip. A lot of quarterbacks will do that when the ball is wet, but Kurt does it just out of habit now.
He's spinning it on the drop then?
Yeah.
Hakeem.
Oh, I smell a soup commercial there. You can see that can spinning in the hand.
Well, this is what we're talking about. Remember, he's got a bad thumb. He injured it earlier in the year. And so it takes him a while to find a good spot on the ball. Watch him spin it there. Talk about cool and calm, huh? Watch Sean Rogers, too. He's going to drill him after he lets go of that one.
Wow, that is amazing. You did that?
Once in a while. Sometimes as you're going back, you can feel that where your thumb is, the ball is wet. So you spin it to the other side. Hopefully it's dry over on the other side.
2nd down and 8 at the 29-yard line. Warner. And this time he goes to the tight end. That's Ernie Conwell to the 23-yard line, a little bit shy of the first down. Any 35-game span, that would be the Warner era, and only the San Diego Chargers, with one Mr. Dan Fouts at quarterback, over a 35-game span, would have had more yards through the air in the history of the National Football League.
Well, like Kurt Warner has great receivers. I had 2 Hall of Famers in Charlie Joyner and Kellen Winslow, plus John Jefferson, Wes Chandler, and I had a guy named Chuck Muncie in the backfield. We had some weapons.
Don Coryell creating the scheme. And this is Falk to the 17-yard line.
You know, Al, there are 2 similarities in the Air Coryell and now what they're calling the Air March offense. This is a vertical passing game that really exploits the entire field, moves the ball toward the goal line. And then the key is to let superior athletes use their talents in the open field. Mike March grew up in San Diego and admired the way Don Coryell's offenses seem to be a step ahead of the defenses, and he has taken it to the next level. Boy, has he. Love talking football with Mike March. And I envy number 13.
Still 300 yards behind you over a 35-game period.
Here's Trunk Candidate.
Trunk's got jets.
Turns the corner, works the inside, stops at the 1-yard line. And that's the reason that he, despite the presence of Marshall Faulk, was thought highly enough by the Rams to be made their #1 pick last year.
Adding more speed to an already fast team. You know, this is a great job of reversing his field and also turning on the jets here, as Dennis talked about. Watch the cut here to get inside of Tracy Scroggins and almost get into the end zone. Great effort by Trunk Candidate.
Injury timeout. They work on Chris Claiborne. 1st and goal when we come back. That's probably the type of shot you would see on the tees for SportsCenter, which comes your way on ESPN.
Why do we get the feeling that's the actual shape of that guy's head?
1st and goal for the Rams from the 1-yard line. Play fake, Warner throws, and Ernie Conwell for the touchdown. Under that category, so many weapons. So often the Rams, in situations like that, would go to a Jeff Robinson, who lines up as an eligible receiver, or in this particular case, Ernie Conwell.
And a beautiful play fake by Warner. Watch as he really sells the fake, gets the linebacker Stephen Boyd to come up, and right behind him, Ernie Conwell, making sure he doesn't run out of the back of the end zone. Another soft toss by Kurt Warner, another touchdown.
Sometimes they even line the tackle Ryan Tucker up as the eligible receiver so he can have his moment of glory. And even the bag man is about ready to head out.
He's bagging
into the night air. He's been 28 zip.
Why don't you get us something to cool this fire down?
I got just the thing. Got too low for that fire.
taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
That's not that bad.
Folks, I don't want to sound like a mindless shill for the network, but the Rams have agreed to let the Lions' next score count for 29 points, so hang in there. Don't go anywhere.
Desmond Howard, even if they did, the Rams would still get the ball back. Flag down. Howard brings it back to the 21. Tom White indicating the call is against the Lions.
Illegal block in the back during the return. Number 54. It's half the distance to the goal line. Be a first down for Detroit. Timeout.
Tis so. 28-0. Rams.
I haven't seen Hank Williams Jr.'s eyes look like clear in years.
Oh, he's down. This is Pete Mitchell making the catch up at the 13. Yep, we're heading down to Texas next week, partner.
I cannot wait. Now, that is potentially the greatest game of this entire package. How many games you say we've played over the years?
Well, this will be the, what did I say, 280 something? 482.
What are the puppets getting paid by the line? Get rid of them. They're gone. It's a puppet.
The doll.
Whatever.
2nd and 6. Batch. James Stewart makes the catch up at the 13-yard line.
Wait a second before we talk. Are the puppets coming back in? No. Okay.
Nope, just us, Dennis.
We've got it.
Well, my head's on a swivel right now.
Yeah. We've been called puppets in the past.
You know, the numbers for the Lion quarterbacks, not too bad, except when you look at this line right here. They're completing over 80% of their passes.
Batch sack back at the 10-yard line. So the Rams defense, Leonard Little gets the sack here. And among other things, Lovie Smith coming over, turning everything around on that side of the ball. The Rams have never shut out an opponent since moving to St. Louis and Los Angeles in 1995. I shut out against Kansas City as the LA Rams in 94.
They got a real good shot at a shutout tonight. 5 sacks for Lovie's defense tonight.
John Jett.
Gun!
Hakeem lets it bounce, and the Lions will down it. They can't even down it at the 45-yard line. With 8 minutes, 26 seconds remaining in regulation. 28-0, St. Louis. Bob Patterson. He's Fall Down Funny, the new comedy Bob Patterson, tomorrow starting at 9, 8 Central right here on ABC. It's by Don Pardo imitation today. This is Marshall Faulk. And that's a first down. You know, the only thing I'm very curious about is that 28-0, Kurt Warner is still in the game. The game is already won, clearly. And Jamie Martin, as you look at Warner's pass rating, 31 career starts, over 100, 19 times, and tonight's rating well into triple figures. Jamie Martin, who was picked up after they let Joe Germain go to Kansas City, has not even taken a snap. There he is in practice.
Why is Falk still in, too?
At the 32-yard line, first down. Marshall again to the 17 and another first down.
It's almost as if Marshall is thinking back to that fumble. And, you know, he hasn't been in the end zone tonight.
Well, I think Marks is thinking I'll leave Falk in because nobody's hitting him out there.
Well, they're just powering right at this very dispirited defense of the Lions. Right up the middle. Watch Marshall lower his head and pull tacklers down the field. Lions have no spirit at this point.
Al, would you say the Lions look feckless?
I would say they are overtly feckless.
I wanted quantification from you. Thank you for supplying.
I am here to serve. Falk to the 14.
Marshall's got that little skip step when he gets to the offensive line. So it's like a speaker who elongates a word so he can get his train of thought back and finish a sentence. Takes that little pause. It's speed through the hole, not to the hole.
That was.
All right, Freddie, don't give me a replay. I'm half asleep here.
Well, let's talk about that skip move. Go ahead.
All right, Warner, hands off. Falk goes up. Little skip move. He bucks it up in there hard.
You know, that was Cosell's trick.
What?
Look at Marshall Falk, the diminutive one from San Diego State with a little skip move to the left, and then he cuts it back. The trick you're talking about. 2nd down and 6.
Only difference is I have hair plugs.
To the 12. That skip step. What about that skip step, ED?
One thing with the skip step is it gives Marshall Falk time to read the line of scrimmage and also gives the lineman time to get in front of him and make their blocks. Now, when I played, I had my little things I did. I would line up 7 yards deep and read the blocks from 7 yards deep. Every running back, believe me, has his little tricks of the trade.
Eric, I want to ask you, too, about leaving Falk and Warner in the game at a time like this. What do you think?
Well, I think they really should take him out. This game is really over with. I mean, it's no advantage to keep them in. I mean, unless you're trying to get Marshall more yards, but I really would take them out because something could happen this late in the game.
3rd down and 4. Warner throwing, and he finds Robinson, and Jeff Robinson takes it to the 7.
You know, and to amplify what Eric's talking about, Marshall's been carrying the ball in this drive, and now Warner throws a pass and gets knocked down. Injuries, freak injuries happen. I would get them out of the game. I'd take their helmet, put it under the bench, make them take off their shoulder pads, and say, hey, we'll see you next week, guys. Good job tonight. Here's the hit on Kurt Warner. Now, you know, a quarterback can come down and sprain a wrist, maybe land on that bad thumb. Anything can happen.
1st and goal from the 6-yard line. Falk. And he'll walk into the end zone. Behind a Hodgins block. So when it's all said and done at the end of the night, if he doesn't carry again, he's had a pretty decent night after doing next to nothing in the first half. 71 yards, 14 carries now, and a TD for Marshall Falk.
And Al, you talked about that block. Here it is, James Hodgins, 270 pounds, like having a guard in the backfield. Watch him clear the way right there. And Marshall goes in virtually untouched.
Martz is a pretty amiable bloke, but he'll punish you as a play caller.
John!
Wilkins for the point after. Falk is the 5th different Ram to score tonight. Hakeem, Holt, Bly, Conwell, and now Marshall, who holds the NFL record for most touchdowns in a season. And Nightline coming up after your late local news. 35-0 as the Rams send it down to the goal line. Wilkins pick, fielded there by Desmond Howard. Tackled up at the 29-yard line. So Marshall Falk into the touchdown, and the Rams on their way to 4-0 for the 3rd year in a row. On Monday Night Football. Well, the Lions at the 29-yard line. The Rams 4:21 away from going to a perfect 4-0. You know, we were talking about, as the catch is made by James Stewart, Warner staying in the game. The Rams, with Trent Green going to Kansas City, Jermaine going to Kansas City, and Jamie Martin backing up Warner, there might be as big a disparity between the 1 and 2 quarterback now, whereas in the past with Green and Warner over the past 2 years, if one guy got hurt, the other guy could come in. But in this case, you know, you wonder why in the world you would risk a season-ending injury.
Well, I think the thought of losing Warner is so cataclysmic to Martz that he doesn't even entertain the notion.
Well, and maybe you had it right earlier, Dennis, because the Lions certainly have not been playing very tough in this second half, this 4th quarter especially. They got that one knockdown on Warner, but other than that, barely even laid a hand on him or Marshall Falk, especially in that last drive. So Martz is obviously watching the same thing you are.
Well, I'm surprised Martz has Warner in at safety right here. I did not expect that. You know, I think it's getting a little silly now.
3rd and 4 from the 35.
Let him go!
Everybody knows he's a cornerback.
That's a first down. Melissa. Check in with Melissa.
Al, this is a t-shirt that the St. Louis Rams have been wearing since the preseason. Max Q is a NASA term, which means the highest level of performance. Mike Martz has applied it to his players, saying it's when they have a flawless game. He said they reached Max Q last week against the Dolphins. As a result, he gave every single player a game ball. The challenge now is to maintain Max Q every single game because it doesn't get any better.
Well, last week they were near perfect. Tonight, some flaws, but they turned it into a rout. Next week, good test though. Next Sunday, the Giants go to St. Louis. Batch downfield, and that's caught by Crowell for a first down at the 36-yard line.
Well, the Lions have a t-shirt made up for Max Z's. We're rapidly approaching. I'm in a deep rim, Al.
Oh, Z's, those kind of Z's.
Huh? Z's, yeah.
Schlesinger.
Now, I think he might be able to give his defense a Max Q t-shirt. The shutout's pretty good.
Flag comes in.
Freddie loves this on camera stuff, doesn't he? Come on, get in tight.
This is closed circuit, you know. We're really not on the air.
Huh?
Sorry to wake you up, Dennis.
Nothing happening up here, Freddie. It's 35. It's 35 nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, see, Agassi gave me these shoes. They're nice, huh?
If I can see anything down there.
Thank you.
Harvey Agassi?
Yeah, Harvey, of course. Who did you think? Andre?
No, of course not. Goulet? Robert Goulet? Yeah. Robert Goulet's he's a big Monday night viewer.
Another penalty on the Lions. That'll
personal foul on the Lions.
Bobby Goulet still watching?
I would think Robert Goulet is still watching.
Bobby, score a lot.
Last week it was Billy Walsh. Now Bobby Goulet.
Bobby Goulet.
Yeah.
Listen, you put a Y on the name, the world's your oyster.
That's what Morningwig did.
He was just old Mark.
That's right. Until you got here. From the 45, Batch. And that's Crowell.
Well, here's the point, and let me make this right now. You've eaten all the junior mints.
No, I left you half the junior mints.
All right.
I left you 2 Snackwells, half the mints. You took all the Cord-Aid.
What was Missy talking about with that prop? What was that? Max Q?
2-minute warning. Be forewarned. You want to take us to break?
No, go ahead.
Where's the card? Take us to break.
The junior minute.
Thank you.
This type of system, it's the same offense that he's trying to run in Washington.
So you mean they want to score 0 differently than Jeff George's talents would allow?
Well, that's a guy they could use, but it's so funny how it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind now. Out of focus, too. Matt Millen and Marty Morningwig actually went to Barry Sanders' house after Matt took over to try to see about getting him back, if not on the playing field, at least in the office. But no dice, and here we are now in year 3 of no Barry Sanders.
Well, it was nice gesture to go to the house, but he should not have broken in through the basement window. You go up to the door, you ask the guy.
Rushing yards with Barry over the 10-year span. And without him, as you can see, about roughly a quarter drop-off, 25% or so.
Why hasn't there been a play for now? It was like a seance out there? What's happening?
With what?
There hasn't been a play in around 2 hours. We're just up here jabbering.
It's a 35-0 jabber, Dennis.
Jabberwocky.
You're good at it.
3rd and 15. Crowell, the intended receiver, but double covered.
You got to love Charlie Batch play faking with 1:47 left out, 35 zip. Hoping they bite on that.
I think the Rams are really trying to guard that zip, too. That's a pretty good play by Dre Bly there. Crowell's tall. He's about 6'3", and Charlie knew that after that great play fake that if he throws it up in the air, he's got a shot at bringing it down. But watch Dre Bly, number 32, get right in the middle of that one and keep the Lions out of the end zone.
Well, Detroit goes to Minnesota. play is whistled. It is not whistled dead, even though the play clock was to 0. As Batch on 4th down throws it away.
And if that doesn't show you the kind of night it has been for the Lions, throwing the ball away on 4th down.
Hey, Morenweg just signed that kid to a 3-year contract.
Throw the ball in the field of play, at least on 4th down. Hey, there we are in the stands.
Well, Howard Katz is our executive producer. Bob Toms, the director of production here at ABC Sports. Steve Hurt, our director of information. Fred Gadelli and Drew Esikoff spearheading this crew as the Rams will wind it down. Joey Chavo
Who's
at
in
the dials.
QB?
Who's what?
Who's in a QB there for the Rams? Did they finally put Martin in?
Yeah, they did.
Okay. At least he got a snap.
He got a snap. Our gang up here in the booth, our statistician, George Port Angeles Hill. And our spotter in his 37th year now, Dennis, Malibu, Kelly Hayes.
Kelly's off the junior mints. He's trying to get svelte so he can get into that unitard for ski season. You know, he's Mr. Après Ski up there in the lodge. Can I buy you Carol Lawrence coffee, baby? What's happening? Yeah, just did some bump skiing.
Well, the Lions go to Minnesota next week to take on the Vikings, who are having their own problems. Then Tennessee, another team with a lot of problems at 0-3 right now, comes in here. And the Rams, meanwhile, go home. Nice flight home. About an hour and a half into St. Louis. Short week, but the Giants come in. Mike Martz will take a look at the NFC champions under the dome on Sunday, with the only perfect record in the National Football League, 4-0, and their first shutout as the St. Louis Rams. And you have to go back 40 years, the last time the Lions lost a game of this magnitude, a shutout loss. That was the same day, that's so long ago, Roger Maris hit his 61st home run that day. That's how long it's been since the Lions have been blown out by this margin in a shutout at home.
Now, Marty Morenweg hair is going to start falling out soon.
Play of the game coming back in a moment. We're saying goodnight from Pontiac, Michigan, with a reminder that ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. The keyword there is Monday Night Football. And this has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.
ABC Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.